In 1991, Derek Redmond ran with his team and competed in the Worlds against the U.S. They were the underdog. There was no reason for them to win. The Americans had won just about everything. And yet, in 1991, his team won. He won. And it became the first thing he was kind of famous for, being on that team and running fast, beating the Americans, the underdogs that came from behind and pulled it off. He had been plagued in 91 and the beginning of 92 with some different challenges physically, right? He'd struggled with a couple different things. In one race, he hadn't even been able to get out the blocks in time, and so he got marked as did not start. But in 1992, in Barcelona, at the Olympics, he was ready to take off and do well. Got all the way to the semifinals. In the semifinals, you hear the gun go off and he takes off. And for 14 or 15 seconds, it's brilliant. He got off well, he's running well, everything about the race is great. And at the 15-second mark, in interviews later, he explained he heard a pop. You don't see it in the video. There's nothing that shows you a pop, but he heard it. And at the 16th second, you watch him grab the back of his leg. His hamstring tore in half, and he crumbles to the ground. And you watch as the video, which you can find all over YouTube, you watch as the rest of the race ends. I mean, people just run off and they hit the finish line. And then the camera comes back and you see him pop up. Again, in interviews, he describes it as he realized, I'm at the Olympics. I got to finish this race. I got to get to the end. And so he pops up and he starts hobbling along. And then you'll see an older gentleman who comes running onto the track, and some guy tries to kind of stop him, but he's like, look, I'm the guy's coach. And it turns out he's not just the coach, he's Derek's dad. And he runs up next to him and he puts his arm around him and says to him, right, you don't have to do this, but Derek's like, no, I do. And you can see the anguish, you can see the pain, you can see the struggle and the despair that comes from knowing this is kind of it. And as you see that anguish, they hobble along. Oh, it grips your heart. In fact, not this past Olympics, but I think the Olympics beforehand, they turn it into one of these kind of moments in history, and you can watch. I mean, there's tons of videos that you can find. Just look up Derek or Derek Redmond or Derek Redmond in the Olympics or the 1992 Barcelona Olympics race. I mean, like it doesn't matter what you pick, you're gonna see the video. And when most people tell that story, when most people show that video, when most people talk about it, they ask, who are you, right? Are you Derek? Who do you see yourself out in this story? Or who do you want to be in this story? Are you Derek, who even when you hit hard days, you get back up and you push through? Are you his dad, right? Who, when you see someone else struggling, you're the kind of person who comes alongside, right? Holds them up and gets them over the end goal. I don't know who you see yourself as when you watch this video. But here's my hope. My hope is that you're not the green jacket guy. And you go, wait, what green jacket guy? Well, you watch that video and you'll see him. Because at several different points, and there's 3 different interactions, I think 2 of them are the same guy, but there's 3 different interactions as the coach, who is Derek's dad, comes onto the track, someone tries to stop him, and he's like, get out of my way. And then you see the green jacket guy later as they're getting close to the end, and he comes over and he's like, look, I need you to, come back off the track, and you can watch Derek's dad just get pissed, like, get out of here. Right? I'm not going anywhere. And you got to ask yourself, right? How ridiculous is it in this context for that guy to show up and be like, I'm sorry, you can't be on the track. Like, the rules stipulate that only the athletes can be on the track. And you're like, rules? The race is done. And this is my son, and he's hurting. And kind of forget your rules. I hope you never find yourself as the green jacket guy, right? But unfortunately, in most organizations, we have green jacket rules. Right? We have rules that were created to create some order. It's not like these are bad rules. They're there for order. They're there to help things move more fluidly through a process. But there's a moment where green jacket rules elevate process over people. And that's what you got to watch out for. That's what you got to be careful. Because if you are a green jacket person, or if you are focused on green jacket rules, what you discover is that you've forgotten the whole purpose of the process or the rule, which was to assist or help people. When Derek is crumpled and then pops up and is hobbling, simply to say, I'm not going to give up. 65,000 people in the stands get up and they're cheering him on, saying, it's okay if you didn't win. We just love your spirit. And here comes Dad, who comes and says, well, if you're going to do this, even though you don't have to, if you're going to do this, you're not going to do it alone. And then in a jarring and completely inappropriate moment, you see Green Jacket Man, who shows up and says, oh, hold on. These are the rules, and you shouldn't be on this track. I don't know who you see yourself in that story. And I don't know what kind of business you're in and what kind of rules you have and how you work with process. But my hope, as you watch this video, is that you never find yourself in that spot where you've elevated rule and process over people, and where you've never become the green jacket.